We open tonight's show with a mysterious night sea scene. Strong waves crash against the shore. In the distance, we can see the silhouette of a lonely ship sailing across the dark waters. Above us, clouds are moving quickly across the sky. The wind is howling, and suddenly a man disappears from the deck. 1 second he was there, the next he was gone. How did he vanish? Did a wave take him? What really happened to him? Every year, hundreds of people disappear at sea, leaving no trace. How did they disappear? Tonight we look at some of the strangest cases and try to find an answer. Can it be a sudden storm, a small tsunami, or a legendary sea monster? In January 1921, the 5-year-old schooner Carol Adering was found on Diamond Shoals off the coast of North Carolina. It was found without a soul on board. The ship was sailing under the flag of the United States. Its last known departure point was Haiti. When the ship was inspected, it was discovered that everything was in order, but there was no sign of the crew. The ship's captain and 4 crew members had simply vanished. To this day, no trace of them has been found. In February 2007, the cruise ship Kaz to set sail from Florida. On board were 80 passengers and 40 crew members. 3 days later, 3 crew members disappeared. No one knows what happened to them. The Kaz II continued its voyage as if nothing had happened. The 3 missing persons were reported missing. A search was carried out, but no trace of the crew members was found. They just vanished into thin air. Over the past decade, several passengers have disappeared from modern cruise ships. In 2019, a young woman disappeared from the Carnival Corporation ship. Surveillance cameras captured her walking off the ship, but when the police arrived, they couldn't find her anywhere. The ship had traveled to the Bahamas by then, and the woman was nowhere to be seen. She just vanished. There are many similar cases. We could mention the disappearance of George Smith from the Norwegian Viva, which took place in 2020. He fell overboard, but to this day, no trace of him has been found. Or the disappearance of a 24-year-old passenger from a Royal Caribbean ship in 2018. Again, nothing was found. The man just vanished into thin air. This happened despite the fact that all the ships were sailing in well-known areas and none of them reported any rogue waves or sudden storms. The same goes for the temperature of the water. None of the ships found themselves in waters with temperatures below 0. So what happened to the people? Where did they go? Of course, you can always jump ship or go over the side of the ship voluntarily. But given the amount of time that has passed since some of these people disappeared, it seems unlikely. Some of them jumped into the water more than 10 years ago. It's much more likely that they were swept away by a wave or sucked under the water by some kind of water vortex. After all, even small tsunamis can appear out of nowhere. But there are some things that don't add up. First, there are no life rafts, no life buoys, no traces on the surface of the water where the people were last seen. Secondly, there was no distress signal from the crews of the ships. If a storm suddenly appeared, if the ship found itself in a tsunami, the crew would surely have realized it. But apparently no one realized. Well, except for the fact that in some cases the ships continued their route as if nothing had happened. It is possible that we are dealing with pirates or sea criminals. However, I have already said that the Carol Adering was sailing under the flag of the United States, and in 2007, the cruise ship Kaz II was sailing in the area of the Bahamas. Do pirates operate there? Of course they do, but usually they kill everyone on board or take everyone hostage. Why would they need to just take 3 crew members off the ship and leave the rest unharmed? It is also possible that the ship and its crew were swept into the Bermuda Triangle. But how does that explain the fact that the ships were found intact? The Bermuda Triangle has claimed thousands of ships and aircraft over the years, but it has never left the ships and planes intact. That's not its style. Another theory is that the ships got caught in some strange magnetic field. This is probably how George Smith ended up in the water. That's what his wife said, at least. But even if we assume that the people disappeared due to some magnetic anomaly, why didn't the ships go down? Usually electronics fail in such fields, but the ship's engines kept running. Their lights stayed on and their radars kept working. And finally, the most exciting part, none of the ships sent out a distress signal. If a person suddenly finds himself in the water, he will certainly try to call for help. But in this case, we are talking about entire crews of ships, both passengers and crew members. They were supposed to send out a distress signal, but they didn't. Why? These are the questions that still haunt investigators and all of us who love mysteries. What do you think happened to those who disappeared at sea? Be sure to let us know in the comments. And that's all for today. Rate the video, like, subscribe to the channel, and don't forget to hit the bell so you never miss any new videos. Thanks for watching. See you later.